All right, welcome back. This will be episode 2 of converting the Freewing Zues to Turbine. In the last video, we we fit the tank to the fuselage here. Everything went real well. And in this video, we're going to install a tank and install the mounts. I got a little ahead of myself. I got 3 models going on at once here, so I'm trying to keep track. So we're going to do a little step to each one. This is the one I bonded in the tank yesterday. Everything went good. Before we do that, I'm going to show you that we got to make provisions for the wires to go underneath the tank. The wires had got to be installed before the tank goes in. So, and then I put these mounts in. It went real well. This customer's going with the X45. I mean, it's painless. So let's work with this one here real quick. This is a model where the tank fits fine, okay? What you have to do is you got to remove this piece of plywood, and we're gonna take out a little bit of foam here to make sure that the wires can transfer from the wings up to the receiver. So what we do here is we're just gonna pop this piece of plywood loose. And I just take a little sanding block that's got about 1.25 inch radius or so. And then I'm just going to basically continue this plane aft, okay? Let me put this on a better stand so I don't jack the model up. So just about like that. And then another thing you want to do, just to make life easier on yourself, and if you ever got to feed wires back through after the tank's installed, just go ahead and chamfer this edge right here just a little bit. It might save you some grief later. Okay. So let me show you here. We're going to just slide a tank in this model. So if you didn't do that, it's going to be impossible to run the wires in. And I'm not a fan of the ribbon wires, okay? I prefer to run up 3 separate servos. This is just my opinion. I like to run up 3 separate servo extensions for flap, ailerons, and gear. Remove the little junction board that's in the outboard wings, and just run the wires directly to the receiver, bypassing the blue box. It's up to you. But just make sure if you guys are using the ribbon cables, just make sure that they'll go through here, okay? And before the tank goes in, I highly recommend that your wires or ribbon wires, whatever you want to use, are run, because it's going to make life a lot easier. I decided I'm going to, on the sheet that I have the templates for the trim for the tank, I decided I'm going to make up like a set of instructions so you do things in the right sequence. So, because if you don't, it's going to give you some grief. So if you want to use your ribbon wires, just make sure that they go in first. Where did the tank go that I had?
It's in there.
Oh, okay. So, you know, you just make sure nothing's dragging on these, and that if the ribbon wire has to go out, you can still get it out, okay? All right, there you go. Okay, so don't forget that step. It's going to be in the instructions. I'll show you the instructions in the next video. All right, so we're done working with this model right now. Let me get rid of that. We're going to cut the mounts. Oh no, we're not done with this model. We're gonna take this model and we're gonna cut the slots like I have in this one here. So this customer is going to be getting the X60. So I cut these mounts yesterday. And I do this, I just want to make sure the production tooling and parts that are 100% completed are going to work fine, because the first couple I did with hand cut parts, you know, just to develop the shape of all this stuff. And then I give it to my guy that laser cuts this, and we make sure everything's good. And I just want to do everything with production parts so you guys will have an easier time with it. So the X60 mounts, they're labeled outboard like that. So they go like that, and then that. And I got an X60 here. Everything looks perfect, okay? So this customer over here that we're gonna cut the mounts for, he's gonna get an X45. So the mounts are different for the 45s and the 60s. So I'm gonna show you how we do that. So let me get this out of the way here. I'm gonna work on this one the rest of the video. Okay, I'm gonna get this mock-up tank out of the way. Oh, and then we are going to install a tank permanently in one of these at the end of the video. Okay, so what I've done is, let me find my screwdriver. I include this template here. I've used this one just to make sure everything's working good. There's a line here, the end of the mount. The music wire is sticking out 1 5/8 inches out of the vice grips, okay? So what you do is you install this on the existing EDF engine mounts. And one thing you want to be aware of is if they got a big radius of glue right in through here, you want to make sure that this mount is chamfered just a little bit, because you don't want that mount kicked in here like that or that, okay? You want it nice on a parallel plane like the EDF mounts, okay? So this one looks pretty good. Oh, hell, I just lost a screw. So put that in here. Find another screw somewhere. This one will work. Okay. So I just kind of eyeball it from the back and make sure everything's looking, you know, nice and, you know, like it's going to project straight across. You don't want the template kicked up or down or anything. You want it nice and straight across, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to cut from this line to the existing EDF mount, okay? And that's all we're going to cut. So I have my music wire 1 5/8 out of the vice grips, okay? Just like that. It's the 5/64 music wire, which is included. So we're just gonna heat that up and cut. So, you know, I've done the same technique in all my videos, and I think it works pretty good. You don't want to get a cherry red hot, you know, just a straw color. You're probably going to have to heat it twice. So I'm going to start next to the EDF mount, and I'm going to go forward. You just hold it right on the bottom of the plywood. So it'll cool off a little bit. Just going to heat it up again. All right, then just stop at the line. Go back, make sure it's cleaned out. I'm gonna pop this off and then do the other side. Oh, I lost that screw too. Oh, there it is. So this side here, I had to transfer the pencil line to the side. And be very careful. Some of these EDF mounts I've done, they're not glued in very good to begin with. So these feel pretty good, but if they feel any bit loose at all, make sure you put some finger pressure on here while you're cutting, or else things are going to go bad in a hurry. All right, so we're going to heat up the music wire again. All right. I'll start on this side. It's a little bit easier. One more time. All right, hit the EDF mount. It's going back. Everything looks good. So now we can pop this plywood out. Okay, now we can remove the EDF mounts. And they just pretty much pop right out of there. That. That. Okay. So we're gonna put these in here, so they're labeled outboard and the notches go aft, okay? So what we gotta do is we gotta clear off just a little bit of foam right in this area here. All this needs to go. Whoops. So basically you just gotta take this little bit of foam here and take it to this plane right there. And I do that with just a nice sharp razor blade. And we'll cut it straight down. Like that. All right. And another little trick is if you radius these just a little bit on the edges, it makes them go in a little easier. All right, let's see how they fit. Okay, so basically they're located when this surface right here touches this wall right there, okay? So I'm pretty happy with that. That looks pretty good. This side. Getting a little interference up here. So that's pretty good. I might lightly sand this slot here to make that fit just a little bit better. So we'll see how an X45 fits in. There you go. Okay. So basically, these will be ready to bond in this model, but first, it's gonna fight you if you don't have the tank in yet. It kind of, see how it interferes with the tank installing it. So this model has to have the tank installed before the mounts are glued in. And I'm gonna include that in the instructions and the sequence on how to do this. So we're gonna push this one aside, and on this model right here is ready for the mounts to go in. Let me verify. This guy's getting X60 mounts, so let me find them. Here are the X60 mounts. Outboard notches go aft, like that. Get that here. Like that. Let me verify the 60 fits in there. That looks good. So we're going to mark the mounts on where the glue has to be. Okay, so just and then I put a mark on the other side. If I can find a pencil short enough. Okay. So, did I mark real well there? So that's where we're gonna put the glue. We're gonna put the glue. That looks good, that looks good. But first, the tank has to go in, okay? So once again, I got the wires all set up in here. There's 4 here because this customer wants Unilight, so I install an extra wire here. Everything's laying down in there real nice. We're gonna do one quick test fit before I put the glue in there. And get to that vent line. And if you don't, you want to put this vent line on and just like kind of rough cut it, because once the tank's in it, it's kind of hard to get to this, so that's why I stick this on first, even though it's a little aggravation right now to try to fish it in. Okay, tank looks good, wires look good, mounts are cut, so we're going to bond the tank in. Okay, so you don't got to get I mean, the tank fits really snug. You don't have to really get carried away with it. So what I do is, if you just go in there with a Gorilla Glue and squirts them down, you make a mess, so, which I did on the last one. So on this one, I'm just going to put a pile of Gorilla Glue down. Clogged up. Perfect. Okay, so I'm just going to take a little Q-tip here. And I'm just going to, you just want a couple dabs on there. And you don't want to put too much out or it's going to squeeze out on you when it expands and it just looks bad. So the first one I did, I put the Gorilla Glue on the tank and then I slid it in and it made a mess. So this is the technique that I'm using now. Okay, so I want to put a little bit on the top. So you don't need to put it all the way aft on the top because that part just has to be cleared out for the tank to slide up in there. That's good. So I don't even scuff the tank anymore, and I'm not going to mist water on this because it's a good fit. So I'm just going to slide it in. Oh, and before you do this, make sure your clunk's in there and the tank is pressure tested, okay? The clunk sits right about there. The fuel line is 4 1/8 inches long on the inside. Everything's safetied. I pressure check this just by mouth pressure underneath water because I do it and you guys need to do it too after the fittings and everything are installed, just to make sure, because if it leaks, you got one hell of a mess on your hands. I haven't had, I check them good, but they need to be checked again because you know, you're playing with this seal right here, and just to double check it, make sure it doesn't leak. And all you need is mouth pressure. What I do is I put another line on here, I pinch it with my hands, I blow in this one. Don't hook it to your air compressor or anything. You only need probably 1/8 of a PSI at most, and just look for any bubbles, and I've never had any trouble. So okay, it's ready to go in. All right, tank is home. Okay, so to really position the tank, you know, it'll shift a little bit side to side. So what you need to do is, I'm including this, the closeout here. So we're gonna install this now, and what that does is you can center the tank in that opening there and make sure the tank's nicely in the middle. So we're gonna just mix up some, I like this stuff here, this foam tack. I've been using it a lot, it's really good stuff. So I'm just gonna run a bead. Run a bead around the perimeter. Oh, it's gonna fight me. There we go. Okay, so this slot here is to get your 3-wire connector up and your fuel line, and it seems to work pretty good. I want to drop this in. So as you can see, the tank needs to be shifted ever so slightly this way. Make sure that's down all the way. Go forward a little bit. Here we go. Looks good to me. Okay. We're gonna move it aft just a little bit so the tank's not right in on that plywood. There we go. So that'll give us a little room to, we can put a little bead of a glue there if you want. So that's down here. All right, so we're ready to glue the mounts in. All right, here we go. So this is the area that we want to glue. You don't need a lot because this one I am going to mist with water. Okay. Looks all right. Don't need a lot. That's it. It's kind of a pain having 3 going at once, but it's just the way it worked out. Dustin. Okay, once again, when this surface is touching the side there, it's located, and everything looks good. If you look at this one here, it foamed up a little bit, but I mean, that's fine. I mean, that just makes it that much stronger. There's still plenty of room for your mounting tabs and all that. You can see from the bottom, foamed up there nice. I mean, the mounts are in strong. Okay, so that's about it for this video. The next one, we're going to be mounting the engine, mounting the tailpipe, putting the aft fuselage on, and doing the brakes. I mean, it might be the last video. I mean, this is a really simple model to do. Okay, thanks for watching.